Hey, I'm Coach D. This is week 44 of my C Sharp Dev Diary, where I'm charting my progress learning C Sharp for a year. We are awfully near to the end now. A lot of my time has been spent doing Unity for the last couple of months, but last week, when I forgot to upload my video diary, I did actually start to make a change. I started reading a book called ASP.NET Core Essentials 9 or something like that I got in a packed bundle, and it's okay. I definitely feel like the assumption of prior knowledge is way above where I realistically am, specifically when it comes to things like web development, web design fundamentals. So I don't know if I can continue using that book because it goes from the shallow end to the deep end with almost no transition, and I got lost instantly. It wasn't the C sharp, it was the ASP.NET syntax that really threw me in. So anyway, I forgot to upload that particular dev diary, but here we are. It's week 44. I'm going to keep this one pretty short. The big change this week is that I entered the GameDev.tv Game Jam for 2025, and I'm going to show you what I've been working on since Friday. On Friday afternoon, they released the theme, which was Tiny World, which I misread as Tiny Worlds, and I said, hey, let's make a game about tiny worlds where you play as a probe exploring a solar system and everything is like tiny worlds. So I started building that. Then late yesterday morning, I realized that I had misread it. It was Tiny World, as in like Terraria kind of thing. And I'm going to stick to my von Neumann probe guns right now. So the theme of the game that I'm designing, that I'm pretty close to being done with, I think, is you play. It's called Von Come Home, and you play a von Neumann probe who is disaffected and very bored after a very long time cataloging stars. And he gets a beacon message or something like that tells him, "Hey, it's time to come home finally." And so it's the last leg of his journey to collect enough resources to warp home. You jump between planets and stars, destroying asteroids to collect resources. You can take damage, shield damage. Shields will recharge. Hull damage does not recharge. And I have not worked that particular mechanic in yet, although you'll see there's a slider for representing shield damage. So it's simple. You're only supposed to spend 4-ish days working on the game jam. That's what they said. Aim to finish in 4 days. I'm a day and a half in now. I've got, you'll see it. I'll show you. So, and then after that, I'm going to end this dev diary thing because I want to get moving. I got stuff to do with the girls today. And a little rough too because we had a rough night. Two kids can really run havoc when one's sick or not sleeping well and the other is sick or not sleeping well. So if I look 10 years older today, that's why. All right, with that said, let us flip to capturing gameplay. I am hoping that the audio is not overwhelming. I did turn it down. So here's what we got here. There's a canvas and a HUD. You've got 3 planets right now in the starter zone and a star, and the icons here indicate where it can jump to. So this one jumps here, this one jumps here. It basically forms a triangle, right? That's it. This is simple. So you play as Von. Let's boot the game. And you have to destroy these asteroids. Now, right now, they don't reflect very well. Partly the harsh shadows are intentional, partly not. But I like the way that it makes the planets look. And you want to collect those molecules. Excuse me. You want to collect those molecules that accumulate over here, because eventually they'll do something. So that's what that little beeping sound is. The control scheme is also very simple. It maybe is not intuitive at first, but once you realize you can't steer the ship because he's orbiting, there are really only 2 concerns. The faster you're going, the farther out you go, and the slower you go by braking holding S, the closer in you fall. And you can see how that affects the pathing. Now, at the moment, there's no collision with the planet, so Von can just steadily fall inward. That's a feature for later. That's one of the few things I have to do, and I need to turn this particle effect off when you're not boosting. But you can warp. Here's the star. Kepler's third law is currently in motion, keeping me really ripping along there. We'll go to the green planet. Not as many asteroids here. This one is called Sorta Rod, and each of the planets have this kind of disaffected name to them. And there we go. Oh, you know what? I think this is the first run I've ever had where I wasn't able to get 10 or more molecules. that's going to be something that I have to keep my mind on when I'm designing, because I want my win condition to be tied to collecting molecules. So yeah, that's it. This is the game. It's very simple. I've done basically all of it myself. The sole exception where I finally gave in and got some help from Mr. GPT is getting this lane pathing thing to work. My method of doing it was not working. I got it like 90% of the way there. I just could not get it to behave consistently. So I went back and forth with a couple different models with GPT until I was able to use it to help me figure something out. Everything else is free assets, like the sound effects in particular in the skybox. I modeled Von myself. He's a very simple model. Let me pull him up real quick. Prefab ships. I modeled Von myself. I didn't even bother to apply textures to it yet. So he was thrown together in Blender. I think it's like 500 faces total. All the rest of the coding is my own work. So the particle effects, these things turning on and off, these icons, all of that's me. And I grabbed free fonts from Google Fonts. So really the only area where I really needed help, where I got bound up, was just on getting that pathing to work. And I had never seen math like that before, I'll be honest. So I don't know if I would have gotten there myself, even if I had been exorbitantly patient. So let me see. I'll pull it up real quick. It's really hard to type around a mic. Braking, that works. So braking and boosting both have this function going on, and it's right here. So the center and the dir, that is where I fell short there. I kept trying to speed it up to make it go farther out, but it wouldn't work quite right. So this one function is the one thing in all of these scripts that I did not write. So I still don't even know if I really... I guess I do understand what it's doing, because I use these for dealing with cameras. I just didn't think about it that way. I was thinking about it very differently. So I got to really take my time to learn this, because it might come in handy again. This did teach me a whole lot of stuff. I've learned about audio management. I have, for the first time ever, I have a singleton pattern here for audio stuff. I've learned more about physics and controlling things with physics and rotate around and rigid body manipulation than I ever had before. I've learned more about instancing things randomly, learned more about how vectors and rotations are interpreted via instancing and via hierarchies, learned more about skybox manipulation, more about material manipulation and emission shaders and all that sorts of stuff. So it's been very productive. But definitely I'm trying to keep it very simple and not allow the scope to exceed the scope of Tiny World. So, all right, with that said, I'm going to get out of here. It's already a little bit too long, and I will see you next week.